Understand where I'm coming from. There is something that we call a divine blessing. This is the blessing that God will give you. No matter what you do, no matter what you don't do, there are blessings that God has in store for you. They are not subject to. The mercies of the Lord are not subject to our behavior. We don't teach righteousness by works. It's righteousness by faith. So they are what we call divine blessings. Next to divine blessings, the second level that I want to put in your head so that you think clearly, second level is your parental blessing. This is when your father, when your mother, the people that God designed as the gates for you to enter into this life, bless you and wish you well, say nice things about you to the Lord. And God honors those blessings, those prayers, those pronouncements. I call those parental blessings. So blessing number one is what I call the divine blessing, where God blesses you in spite of yourself. Blessing number two is what I call a parental blessing, when you and your parents are on the same page and you're talking together nicely and you are in harmony, father and son, daughter and mother, and etc. And there is harmony right there. God will bless you. Divine blessings, parental blessings. Number three is what I want to call now the pastoral blessing or the prophetic blessings, which are pastor's blessings. Where your pastor, the one who is looking after you spiritually, prays for you, wishes things to be upon your life. But take note that divine blessings, parental blessings, are not controlled by pastoral blessings. You cannot mess up the two levels of your responsibility on the top side and hope that you will access the pastor's blessings. No, get it clearly. What God can give you, God can give you. What your parents can bless you with, your pastor cannot bless you with. And what your pastor can bless you with, the fourth level of my blessing, for everyone out there who is going through a financial problem in your life, I have a solution for you today. This will mark the poorest that you were in your life ever since you were born. I challenge you, go to your account, I don't know how much is there, withdraw some money. Go to your field, if you got some cattle, count some cattle. I don't know how many you're going to count, but maybe let's agree that you make 7 cattle that you can count. And after you've counted these 7 cattle, 700 rand, 7 rand, or 7,000 rand, I don't know what the Lord will impress on your heart. Have 7 envelopes that are in your hand and put each offering in each envelope. Get into town, get into the village, get into the bushes. I don't know where you are on the face of the earth. Find a blind person. Give them 1 envelope. Find a widow. Give them another envelope. Find a crippled person. Give them another envelope. Find an orphan. Give them another envelope. Find someone who is desperate and begging. Give them another envelope. Find 7 critically troubled people on the face of the earth. Give them an offering. Start learning the concept of Ubuntu. When you look after orphans and widows, God says you are looking after his wife and you're looking after his children. And whoever gives to the poor makes God to owe them. So go and give them. If you are really in trouble, to some of them whisper and say, please pray for me. Please pray for me. Please say a prayer for me. Please say a prayer for me. You will be shocked before you give away the 7th envelope. Someone will look in your eyes and say, truly there is a God in heaven and God has blessed me through you. You are an angel. Go home and wait and see how the Lord will respond to you responding and giving to those that are in need. There is no way we can be talking poverty unless we are talking getting things from God so that we can look after our own selves. If we ask things from God, the idea is that we must become channels through which we push these things to thousands and millions of people who need our assistance. This is Ubuntu. This is being African. In the old tradition of our traditions of Africa, we had no orphans, we had no widows, And we had no vagabonds walking on the streets, because every family, every community knew how to look after its own people. I challenge you, therefore, in this beautiful African month, I can do nothing more than just resurrect the old African traditions in our midst. We cannot push this responsibility to the church. We cannot push the responsibility to the governments and NGOs that they are looking after the poor. You need to have a tzedakah. It's also the Hebrew word. Tzedakah is an offering where you and your family are collecting on behalf of the community that is around you, and begin to be in the business of looking after God's children. When you do for God what He cannot do for Himself, then God will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. As you do God's business, God then is in the business of doing your business. Then what do you become? You become a partner together with God in looking after His community. We did not need to learn this from a Eurocentric religion. As Africans, this is what we were. If you are walking past my field and you are hungry, get into the field, break some watermelons, eat, be full, as long as you don't carry anything away, because we believed in sharing the common background, sharing the common resources. That's how I grew up. Yes, you are right, Elizabeth Munikwa, down in Kwatugwi. When you're walking past the farm of Mr. Lunga, walking past the farm of Mr. Maponga there, Guarivanda and Mrembwe, you did not need to ask for pcha or nzimbe or asking for food. You get in there, you eat, and you proceed, because that's what a community is made out of. You look after me and I look after you. When I have, you have. This is what community building is all about. If we can take this concept from an individual level to a family level, to a community level, to a society level, to a country level, we can then begin to talk about Africa finding its way back to its own conscience and its own being. So that when Zimbabwe is doing fine, South Africa is also doing fine, Mozambique is doing fine, Kenya is doing fine. And if our presidents can begin to have a sense of community, that we don't run these countries as they were divided to us by our colonial masters, who sat on a table one day and tore up a piece of paper and they distributed us to themselves like we're pieces of meat on the marketplace. You take that, the Portuguese that, Belgians that, the English that, and Africa became a donated piece of land to the colonizers. If Africa can begin to look beyond colonization, look beyond passports, look beyond individual and country politics, look beyond your passports and language, you will find that we are a community of loving people who work with each other, who live with each other. We share with each other. If I have, you have. If we can translate this concept to a continental platform, we can begin to build a new United States of Africa, from a United States of communities and cultures, from a United States of families, from a United States of self. United States of Africa begins with me looking after my fellow person, my fellow family members, my community, my culture, my society, my country, my region, my continent, and the rest of the world can learn from there. And I believe that Africa is something that we can contribute. We are stuck in local domestic politics, and we forget that there is a bigger picture out there. We are not in isolation. We are living in harmony with the rest of the world. In this September month, this is my gift to all Africans out there. Start looking after yourself. Go back home. Look after your parents. Look after your sisters. Look after your brothers and sisters. In the amount of money you spend on buying airtime, doing those fun little tweezers on your hair, and putting those cornrows on your head and extensions, 4,500. If we can begin to look after our own people, God will bless us much more. It's not about looks. It's about the conditions of the heart. And when our hearts are in harmony with God, the universe around us and God Himself will cause us to become desirable. Have you not read the passage that says, you will find favor? You will find favor. In other words, you walk up to a place and you find favor. You see, some of us, we don't earn as much money, but we got favor. I'm able to fly around the world and pay nothing for it. I'm able to walk up in a shop and pick up the clothes that I like and not pay for them. I'm able to walk up to a garage and ask for a car, and I'll phone 2-3 people and I'll get the car without paying for it. Why? Because favor is more than cash. When God gives you favor, there's no amount of money that you can have that will surpass favor. How do you create favor? By looking after the things that are favorable to God. Love the things that God loves. Look after the things that God is looking after. Care for the orphans. Care for the blind. Care for the crippled. Teach your children to do the same. Reduce your personal expenses on yourself. Increase your expenses on looking after those that are less privileged than yourself. Heaven will smile at you. You will find favor in the eyes of the Lord. That's how we build our African communities. Ubuntu, being a human being. God bless you and watch over you. That's my best gift for you on this African month. Find your roots, water them, and the fruit will be predictable and sure. Until tomorrow, same time, afternoon drive. Your host, Maponga J. Love you all.